what's right. The power in doing whatever it takes. You were in my team then, 2006.
Yep.
Right? We all quit, right?
Yeah, we all quit.
We all got burned out, three-way calls, right? Three-way calls are not to be confused with the fun kind of three-ways, right? I had to say something like that. You know, got a family member, knows something about that. Anyways, right? So three-way calls, we all got burnt out because we were on the phone like for making no money all day, right? Who in here has been on the phone all day and night and made no money from it? You know, some of us, not all of us, right? You've done it, right? So we were doing that. This is back in 2007. We all got burnt out. We just kind of gave up, right? The whole team burned out at the same time. Like I've seen what happened with other companies. You know, when Lawrence Tam went over and he was selling vitamins for a while, and he was like, I'm no longer the free part-time engineer. I'm now the guy that does three-way calls, no meetings, right? Woo! Right? And I said, dude, you're going to burn out all at the same time with your team. It happened before. And he was like, never, right? And then it's like, what, 5 months later, you know, right? And then they're like, okay, I come back and make $50,000 a month again with no phone calls, please. And I'm like, well, I never canceled your income. Come back, you know, right? Now he's at $1 million. Give Lawrence a hand for hitting over $1 million, right? So, but he was with me, and he came to the meetings, and I just kept having a dream. I remember the first meeting I went to, it was in my parents' house up in Alaska that I did with Chris. I invited him and this other guy there, and I got up in front of a whiteboard, and I said, let's show you how we're going to build the dream. And I showed the plan for the next 2 hours, and you got in with that other guy, right? But we didn't succeed, right? But I kept fighting. And when I started succeeding, right? He'd been my friend, my best friend, since like 2006 or something, right? I just can't help being friends with him. It's his beautiful blue eyes.
Really? Really?
Don't worry, I won't tell him the witch story. Right? But I kept fighting. So when I made $12,000 in a night 3 months after being online, first phone call I made, right, Chris. And I drove over to his house in my parents' car like this, because I'd been up for like a week straight, right? And I had my laptop, my $150 laptop I had bought off of eBay, right? And it was almost out of batteries, so I was breaking the speed limit. And I was wearing a tie-dye shirt I had been wearing for 3 days straight with no sleep. And it smelled like the hotels in Vegas that are dirty. Right? I'd been wearing the same underwear for 3 days, the same shorts for 3 days, and my hair was like this and my eyes were crazy. And I drove over to Chris Rushlow's house, and I walked in and he... And I said, I got to show you something. And I walked up and I set my computer down and I hit refresh on my email and you just earned a commission was coming in. Remember?
Yeah.
When your friends don't want to get in, it changes when your inbox fills with commissions.
Just a little bit.
Just a little. Because all of a sudden, he looks at this and he says, what the fuck are you doing? Changes the conversation a little bit, doesn't it? But
a little bit.
He gets involved with me a few years ago, right? Now, those 3 years, 3.5 years, he's been in my team. I've been talking about sponsoring 2 people a day for how long?
The whole time.
Right? How often has that changed?
Never.
How often have I said to stop blogging?
Never.
Right. How many times have I gotten a webinar and repeated the same information?
I can't count that high.
Okay. How many days in the last 3.5 years have you known me where you've actually been able to check where I've sponsored 2 people or more into whatever company I was in?
Every day.
Every single day for how long?
3 years.
Yeah, right?
It's about 2.5, 3 years.
Since I went over to your house smelling like poo, right?
And you did.
And I smell worse. The power in a connection, okay? Took you a little while, though, to listen because he was with me when I wandered around in like Safeway and Walmart, right? Can you tell them the manager story?
They all heard it on the Empower.
I know,
Hour.
but it's hilarious. Just just a short snippet of the story.
Okay.
This
So-
is one of like 5 stories where I really embarrassed Chris. It was really fun because I have like 500.
Put
I
a
used
zero
to.
on the end of
I
that.
used to actually make fun of him in every
a ze-
meeting. You know, every meeting I used to do, and he came every week. But he was like, "Hey, it's true." Right? Because he was a real estate agent, and I got to tell you this story about how I sponsored him, right? Because I'm just talking about this is history, okay? This is how Empower Network comes to be, right? So one night I decided to go out to a bar in Fairbanks, Alaska, right?
The one time you ever
The
went to a
one
bar?
time I ever went to a bar, right? Went to a bar with Chris, and I see this guy there. I'm like, that's Chris Rushlow. We played basketball together when we were 12, right? And he was a real estate agent in a bar at like 1 in the morning because it was my friend's birthday. I don't know. I can't remember, right?
Fairbanks, there's only 2.
Yeah, there's only 2 bars up there, right? And I said, Chris, you got a card? That's like the Amway line in it. You got a card, right? Now, we were sitting there at a table at 1 in the morning, and he was a realtor at the time, right? And this is the life of realtors, right? We're sitting there, right? He's sitting there like this, and I say, oh, you sell real estate? He says, yeah. And I say, you got a card? And he goes, and he like walked out to his car and like came back in and was like, here's the card. Like
Did
just
I-
on a dime, right?
Really? Yeah. Did I really walk like that?
He was
I walked-
actually skipping while he was walking.
I
He was
walked just like that.
like this, right? He was like, I got a
Promise.
card. I got it in my car. Right? And so anyways, he runs. Hey, hey, the other day, I saw you. I know we played basketball together when we were 12. The whole catch-up line from calling everybody in the yearbook, right? And I said, you seem like a sharp person, right?
I knew what was coming next.
Right? He knew what was coming, but this is what he says. He says, stop it. Stop. Well, what else about me do you like? Do you like my eyes? Right, so I go over there and I drop this like magazine with this 3 bald guys doing an audio CD called Secrets of the Multimillionaires, right? And 3 bald guys that all looked like Lex Luthor making $100,000 a month in that company, Not that I'm mentioning any names, right? And he listened to that thing and came to my house and got in, right? This is in that company, right? Paid $1,000 to get in, to buy a closet full of vitamins that you pretend taste good after you watch the comp plan, right? And he got in and he came to meetings for a year. Now this is like 6 years ago, right? So it was hard to listen to me after I knew what to do, right?
A little bit.
But he started listening maybe how long ago? Truthfully.
8 months ago.
8 months ago after 3 years of working with me. And in 8 months, your income today is?
$20,000 a month.
Give him a hand. So, hey, real quick.
By the way, 51
51 what?
times you've embarrassed me now.
Oh, yeah, and more. Or, invite the people up I talked to you about in your team real quick. I
Sure.
want to show you guys the power of
Amy
something.
Starr Allen, Jordan
Yeah, come up.
Schultz,
Give him a hand, give him a
Landon
hand.
Stewart, Angela Moore.
Okay? So the first thing is you want to focus on a result, right? And the result you want to create here is how many new customers a day? How many? I can't hear you. How long have I been saying that, guys? 3.5 years, yeah. I've been doing it for 3.5 years. It's easy, 2 a day, okay? Now, power in a single connection. The power in a single conversation. The power in a single action. 6 or 7 years ago, something like that, 2006. First guy I sponsored in that company, we all quit. $20,000 a month, right? And we got some of his team here today. First of all, give him another hand and give his team a hand for coming out there. Okay, here, let me see this real quick, right? Why don't you do it? You have the plan. If you want to introduce who these guys are on the team, I bought him pizza once. right? I saw that story on Facebook. I was like, I did buy him pizza, right? If you want to tell the pizza story, maybe a little bit later, right? But if you just want to introduce them, how much they're making, and I want to show you guys something that's really important. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Actually, let them just say how much they're making.
Just
a
how
month.
much they're making
We
and
got
who they are.
Landon Stewart. Okay, how old do you think this kid is?
5.
He's 22 years old. All
That's
right.
why I didn't order him beer.
Yeah, we'll come back here. But how much you making? How much did you make last?
Just over 10,000 a month.
Give him a hand, guys. Come on, come on. Okay. Angela, hey, she's in the Costa Rica retreat video. Give her a hand. Look how much more confident she is on stage now. Like she's not scared out of her mind. Right? All right.
And how much you making a month?
Last month was 11,500.
Give her a hand, guys. Give her a hand. 2 six-figure earners, right? Jay Schultz.
I've done about 50K this year.
Hey, can I tell him the late night story when we were hanging out drunk and I was looking at your funnels later?
Oh yeah, if I don't remember it, but go for it.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious. All right, how much you make?
I made 50K so far this year.
And how much you made
I'm
last
doing
month?
about 11,000 a month.
11,000 a month. Give him a hand. Come on. And what are you?
10,000 a month.
10,000 a month. Give him a hand, folks. Come on. Right? So approximately here on stage, we've got $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a month in income. Give the team another hand. Here's what I want to point out, guys. The one time I go to a bar 7 years ago and reconnect with a guy that I haven't talked to since I was 12, because in high school he was cool and I was weird, right? I used to wear shoes then because it was Alaska, but I hated it. A conversation turns into a best friend, right? That we've been through some shit together, right, for a long time, both of us. And I tease him, but it's all in good fun, right? You wait till hear what comes out of his mouth when he speaks, all right? One of these days, soon, right? One conversation in a bar at 1 a.m. with a guy who's selling real estate. 7 years later, 8 months after he decides to listen to the same thing that I've been telling in Power Network since I started the company, and the same thing that I've been doing on the internet since 2009 when I started, and the same thing that I'm going to talk about this weekend, and the same thing that I say on the Monday night calls, and 8 months later, 20,000 a month, 10,000